So welcome to the video lecture on microcontrollers and embedded system, module 4. So today I'll be discussing module 4, embedded system design concepts. So I am working in Cambridge Institute of Technology in Department of Information Science and Engineering. Myself, Professor Preeti. So in today's session, I'll be covering with embedded system design concepts. So you all know embedded systems are a combination of both hardware and software. So when you go for the design of the embedded system, you need to take care of both hardware and software components. So you need to look for the characteristic as well as attributes, quality attributes of embedded systems. In today's session, I will be dealing with all these uh, points wherein you will be able to know about the design concepts of the embedded system. So some important characteristics of embedded systems are, we can list under 4 to 6 headings like application and domain specific, reactive and real time, operates in harsh environment, distributed, small size and weight, power concerns. So these are some of the headings under which you can consider the characteristics of embedded systems. So how the characteristics of embedded systems should be. For example, when you consider application and domain specific, embedded systems are developed to perform some specific functions. So, with respect to the general purpose system, embedded systems are going to be developed to perform specific functionalities. So, you cannot replace embedded system of washing machine design with embedded system of microwave oven, because each unit in that particular machine is designed for specific task. That is the reason we consider that as application specific or domain specific. Similarly, embedded systems are in constant interaction with sensors and input devices, which is connected to the input port. So any changes in the real world, whatever the changes are going to happen in the real world is going to be captured by your input devices or sensors. So whichever the algorithms that are running in the background will be controlling the output parameters. So the input will be considered as a event driven input. So the event can be periodic or it can be unpredicted. Real-time embedded systems should be designed in such a way that it should be captured without missing. So you should not miss any of the input, whatever happening in the real world. So embedded system should be reactive. So always your real-time embedded systems, in that you need to take care of the timing behaviors that should be deterministic. So all embedded systems we cannot consider as mission critical. There are few embedded systems that can be considered as mission critical, which are going to be reactive in the real time operation. So for example, your flight control system, anti-braking system. So these are all going to be considered as the mission critical systems, embedded systems, and which should be reactive. So as early as possible, they have to react for any of the events which occur. So that is reactive and real time. So the next characteristic of embedded system is it should operate in harsh environment. So whatever the embedded system you design, so if the embedded systems after the design, so that will be deployed in the real-time environment. So that embedded systems should work in any of the harsh environment wherever it is placed. So the environment in which the embedded systems run may not be always in a controlled manner. So sometimes environment may be high temperature, or it can be dusty, or it can have shock and vibration. So the embedded systems should be capable of withstanding all these adverse conditions. So that is the meaning of harsh environment. So all the embedded systems should work or operate in harsh environment. So if the embedded system is to be deployed in high temperature zone, so the components whichever you are used in the embedded system should withstand high temperature. So same way, shock absorption, power supply fluctuations, everything should be taken care. So wherever you are going to deploy your embedded system in the working environment, if it is a soft environment or harsh environment, so the embedded system should work in a proper manner. Then the next important characteristics of embedded system is distributed. So distributed means embedded system is nothing but as a whole, you will be having many components or many parts present in an embedded system. So again, in that, if you consider each of the parts present in the embedded system, so you will be able to consider or view a simple embedded systems embedded in that. So for example, your vending machine, it may contain card reader, a vending unit, etc. So each of them are independent unit, but they are going to work together. So ATM also contains card reader as an embedded unit. So ATM itself is an embedded system. In that, a card reader is also one of the embedded unit present in that. So that is the reason your embedded systems can be considered as distributed. Next characteristic of embedded system is nothing but small size and weight. So whenever you go for purchasing of the products in the market, you will be looking for a slim kind of thing. For example, mobile. So your mobile phone, when you want to purchase a mobile phone, so you will be looking for a thin or a small, in a small size, and it should have less weight. So you will make a comparative study on the pros and cons of the particular product, whichever you are going to purchase in the market, for the size and weight. So you will prefer a very small size and less weight products. Most of them prefer to have small sized products compared to the bulky products. So that is the reason when you go for the design of embedded system, you need to take care of size as well as weight of the product. The last important characteristic of an embedded system is with respect to power. So power management is another important factor that needs to be considered in designing embedded system, because embedded system should be designed in such a way to minimize the heat dissipation by the system. So the production of amount of heat demands cooling requirement like cooling fans, etc. So design should choose low power components, microcontroller with power saving mode. So because all your embedded systems sometimes may work with a battery backup kind of thing. So power concern is a main issue in the embedded system when you have to go for the design of embedded systems. So these are some of the important characteristics of embedded system. To summarize, what are the important characteristics of embedded systems means? The first one is embedded systems are application and domain specific, and embedded systems are reactive and it works in real time. Embedded systems operates in harsh environment also. So all embedded systems are distributed. They come with small size and weight. So power concern is also one of the characteristics of embedded system. So next we are going to discuss about the operational and non-operational quality attributes of the embedded system. So operational and non-operational quality attributes which need to be documented properly in any system design, because if you go for any system design, either it may be software system design or embedded system design, whatever it is, so you need to have the documentation properly maintained in the about the system design. So if the quality attributes are more concrete and measurable, it will give a concrete impact. So that is the reason why we have to know about this operational quality attributes. So now we are going to list the operational quality attributes and we'll discuss what exactly it is. So there are 6 quality attributes that we can list, that is operational quality attributes. So these quality attributes represents the system in online mode. So what are the quality attributes we can list here is, one is response, the second one is throughput, the third one is reliability, fourth one is maintainability, fifth one is security, and sixth one is safety. So now we will discuss one by one. So response is nothing but it's a measure of quickness of the system. So that means how quick your system responds to the events or the changes, whatever is going to happen in the input environment. So for example, flight control is an example of the response which you can take in real time. Any delay in the response may affect the safety of the passengers. So that is the reason response is going to be considered as the measure of quickness of the system. Second attribute which we are going to consider is throughput. So throughput can be defined as rate of production or process defined over a period of time. So in general, it can be defined as the rate of production or process defined over a period of time. The rates can be defined in terms of units of products or batches produced. So in case of the card reader, throughput means how many transactions the reader can perform in an hour or day. So you can consider a card reader which can perform number of transactions per day or per hour. So that will be considered as the throughput. So throughput is going to be generally measured in terms of benchmark. So benchmark is nothing but the reference point which something in which something can be measured. So by keeping the benchmark, you will be able to measure what is the throughput of that particular system which is going to be considered. That is your throughput. So next operational quality attribute which we are going to consider is reliability. So again, reliability means it's a measure of how much percentage we can rely on proper working of the system. So whenever you design any system, any embedded system, reliability is one of the quality attributes you look for, because you will be relying or you will be uh, relying on that particular product working of that particular system. So in that reliability, we are going to define two terms. One is mean time to retrieve, which is going to be used for measuring or finding the system reliability, and mean time between failure and mean time to retrieve. So these two things will be considered. So how much time you are going to take to retrieve that particular system when a system fails. So that will be considered under the reliability point. The next important operational quality attribute is nothing but maintainability. So maintainability is nothing but the support to the end user in case of any failure. So if any failure occurs at your system, embedded system, so maintainability is nothing but the support which will be given or extended to the user, end user or the client. So these reliability and maintainability are two complementary things. So a more reliable system will always be less maintainability requirements. So maintainability is closely related to the system availability. So this maintainability you can classify into two categories. One is scheduled maintenance, the other one is unscheduled maintenance. So some embedded systems components are subject to wear and tear. So those components should be replaced. Suppose for example, an inkjet printer uses a cartridge which should be replaced after n number of printouts. So this is an example of periodic maintenance. So if the paper feeding part of the printer itself fails, the printer fails to print, it should be replaced immediately. So this is an example of unscheduled maintenance. So with this, you can define what exactly is maintainability. So you can have scheduled maintenance or you can have unscheduled maintenance. So same way, the next important attribute you are going to consider is security. Under security, we are going to have three important terminologies. One is confidentiality, then integrity, then availability. So these are the three major components for measuring security of any of the system. So confidentiality deals with protection of data and application from unauthorized disclosure. So you should not disclose to any unauthorized person. So that is nothing but confidentiality. So same way, integrity deals with protection of data and application from unauthorized modification. So that means your data and application should not get modified by any unauthorized person. Availability deals with unauthorized user access. So these are the three important terms which comes under security for the measuring of the security. So last important operational quality attribute we are going to consider is safety. Safety is possible damages that can happen to application, operators or environment. So sometimes breakdown of embedded systems may occur due to hardware or firmware failure. So safety analysis should be done in the design process itself, product design process itself. So safety precautions should be incorporated in product design as well. So some of the safety threats are sudden and some of them are gradual. So accordingly, you should have the safety design properties in your embedded system. So these are going to be considered as the operational quality attributes of the embedded system. So as a summary, if you see, there are 6 operational quality attributes. One is response, the second one is throughput, third one is reliability, and fourth one is maintainability, fifth one is security, and sixth one is safety. Now we will go for the next concept, which is nothing but non-operational quality attributes. So quality attributes which are not based on operation aspects are called non-operational quality attributes. So again, here we can list some of the non-operational quality attributes which are again as important as operational quality attributes. So in that, first one is testing and debugging. So always testability and debugging should be present in any of the embedded system design. So testability is nothing but it deals with how easily one can test his or her design. So when you design any of the embedded system, before planting that into the actual environment or real environment, always you need to go for testing that particular embedded device or system. So same way debugging, any software or firmware if you design or develop, so that also should be debugged for any kind of errors or kind of unpredictable operations which can be performed. So before deploying any embedded system into the real environment, you have to do the testing process. You should run your embedded device in a dummy environment and you have to do the testing whether it works properly or not. All the functionalities, whatever is been designed, has been conquered or not. So this is the testing and debugging non-operational quality attributes any embedded system should possess. So same way, the next embedded system non-operational quality attribute is evaluability. So evaluability is a quality which makes the embedded system to adopt changes in new firmware and hardware technology. So it is nothing but non-heritable variation. So you have to evolve into the new environment. So that embedded system should not fail. So same way, portability. So portability is a measure of system independence. So product which is capable of functioning in various environments can be considered as portable. So a standard embedded product should be always portable. So porting means nothing but migrating your firmware from one target processor to another target processor. If the program is written in high-level language like C with little target-specific functionalities, it is easy to port into new target processor. So same way, you can run in the another target machine with few changes or modifications done. The next important non-operational quality attribute is time to prototype and market. So time to market is the time which is elapsed between the conceptualization of a product and the time at which the product is ready for selling or use. So you start with the design of your embedded system, that is the conceptualization of the product period. From that period to the time at which the product is ready for selling. So that is what we call it as time to prototype and market. So the commercial embedded product market is very highly competitive. So on time to market the product is a critical factor which you need to consider in the success of any commercial embedded product. So if you come up with a new design and if it takes long time to develop and market it, so competitor product may take advantage of it with their product. So that is the reason this product prototyping and time to market is need to be considered. So whenever you have any product idea, you may not be certain about the feasibility of the idea. So that is the reason you have to go for prototyping, which is nothing but an informal kind of product development in which the important features of the product under consideration are going to be developed. So then you are going to construct a prototype of that, and from that prototype you are going to build your actual product. So that is your time to product and a prototype and market. The next thing is per unit and total cost. So when you design any of the embedded system, the cost is also a very important factor. So which is going to be closely monitored by both end users. So cost is also one of the important factor you need to consider, which is a highly sensitive factor for commercial product. So any failure to position the cost as in a commercial product may lead to failure of the product itself. So you need to do the proper market study, and then cost benefit analysis should be carried out. Based on that, product idea generation, then prototyping, then roadmap map definition, actual product design, and actual development phase. So all these things to be considered. So there are some phases which are going to be considered in the product life cycle. So we will see that how the product life cycle looks like, what are the phases present in the product life cycle. So in this diagram, you can see the product life cycle. So there are five phases in the product life cycle. One is product development, the second one is product introduction, the third one is the growth, and fourth one is the product maturity period, and fifth one is the product retirement. So these are the product life cycle phases which you can consider. So left y axis is considered as the revenue, x axis is considered as the time. So time versus revenue you can see. So when you start with a product development initially, so in that product development phase, you will not be having any profit. So your investments only will be present, but no profit. So with no profit, no returns. So once the product is ready, you're going to introduce that product into the market. So from that period, you're going to define a unit cost per product. So based on that unit cost per product, after the introduction of the product, slowly it starts growing. So you need to do the advertisement, you have to market your product in a proper way. So you have to project your product in a proper way. So all these things will happen in the product introduction period. So there your profit curve also starts, your product sales, your profit, your unit cost. So these are the three curves which can be considered in the life cycle. So from that product introduction phase, in that product introduction phase, your profit will still be in the lower part only. So you will not be gaining any profit per unit cost. So your product sales will be slightly growing, and then it enters the next phase called as the growth period. So wherein your product sales are going to be extremely in the high place. So that is a period where you are going to get the more profit. So after some time, it enters to the product maturity period. So that is a peak time wherein you are going to enter into the market as your product. So that is your product maturity. So your profit from that phase to the next phase, your profit slightly comes down. So that is called as the product retirement phase. So in the product retirement phase, what happens? So by the time some new product might have come in the market of the same qualities, so for that reason the customers may go for new product. So during that time, that product your product demand will come down. So that phase we call it as product retirement phase. So during that phase, your profit curve also slows down. So this is about the product life cycle of an embedded system, how an embedded system should go through all the phases of your product life cycle. So in today's session, we discussed main points such as quality attributes, then operational and non-operational quality attributes, and the product life cycle, how the product life cycle is going to occur in that particular embedded system design concepts. Thank you for watching my video.